Okay, technology is really being silly tonight. So hopefully everybody is having a fabulous Tuesday. This is take two of partners, and this is going to be amazing. This is going to be so amazing. You guys are in for like such a real amazing treat tonight. All right, so here we go. All right, I'm gonna wait for the third person to hop on, and then I'm gonna add everybody else at the same time. It's gonna be amazing. All right, come on. All right, we're just gonna go 1, 2, 4. As I'm like holding my breath. Woo! Okay, so all right, Caitlin, you request. Yes, there it is. Woo! I'm gonna party. Okay, I think we're in action here.
Don't
She's
say it
coming.
yet.
She's coming on. The fireworks
Mark is
are
still chilling in a real sunset. At least we have that.
We always got Mark.
I
Just fine.
mean, but you guys down in Atlanta, you guys get the year-round good weather. I get this like maybe 2 months out the year.
I'm just saying, where's my rooftop, though? You know? What
You're free to come visit anytime.
I'm saying? Bet. Where are you at again?
I'm in Canton, so it's like the downtown part of Baltimore.
Oh, okay, very cool. Very cool.
okay. All right. She requested, it worked. I hit enter, join, whatever. Oh, it's not letting her on. Okay. Caitlin, magically, miraculously, it's going to happen. I know you're like watching, so hang on. And during the thing, I'm going to continuously try to get you on. But okay, I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to roll with it. And if we're able to get her on because of technology, we're going to get her on. Pam, you're watching. Message Caitlin. Help her. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, I'm just hoping that will work. Okay, so welcome to the second night of this week. Or actually, it's the third if you count Sunday. So anyway, we've been having lots of events all month long, and I'm so excited. I can't believe like the end of the month is like already here. I'm kind of sad because I've been having so much fun with all these various events and meeting people that I've never met in real life and being with people that I do know in real life. And so it's just so exciting, and technology is amazing for connecting community like in so many different places, right? So tonight I am so excited that we're going to talk about and with partners and their amazing part of the story going through fertility challenges. And, it's funny, we were having a conversation earlier. He's like, well, have you watched any other events just around partners? And like, what have you learned? And I'm like, there haven't been any. Nobody's really having these conversations. And to me, as a practitioner, someone who specializes in reproductive health, I'm always talking to my clients like, well, are your partners getting the support that they need? Like, are they talking to their friends? Are they talking to a therapist? Like how are they being supported? Exactly. And that's the answer. Like, nobody talks about it. I mean, even we were talking about it, like, well, have you talked about it with your other friends that are having, and he's like, well, I don't know what to ask. Like it's just more of like a casual conversation, not to put you on the spot, but it's like just one of those things. And so I thought it would be really awesome to have this event, and having him here was like an extra bonus. I wasn't originally expecting that, but we're having a cool casual conversation. So we'll see how this goes. But what I wanted to do was to kind of open it up. If you can each share a little bit of your fertility story, just in general, and then we'll dive into like the partner couples perspective of that. Mark, I'm going to throw it over to you because like we haven't caught up. So I have to say, so in October, when I hosted pregnancy and infant loss awareness events, Mark and I had reconnected, and that's what like started it. And he kind of inspired us to have this event tonight. So, Mark, I'm so grateful. So can you tell us a little bit about what your family's experience has been?
Sure. So, at the end of the day, we were successful. So, our son he'll be 8 months tomorrow, actually. So, it's a long process, a 5-year process. So, it was successful. We went through 5 cycles, and then on the last egg, that was the last one, and he's here, right? It was definitely a blessing. It required a lot of stressful reminders that life is short, right? So we're gonna go through this. We're gonna push together. But yes, we went through 2 hospitals, Shady Grove, John Hopkins, and try to see all the specialists, from surgeries to shots that I never knew I had to give, and shots that you're scared to give. So it has definitely been an experience. It's one of those things that, like you said, it's not really talked about too often. It's one of those things where a lot of women don't really open up to one another, except for in that cycle of that circle. It's a really small circle. But on the partner side, I literally had no one to ask any questions to. It's one of those, I'm gonna try to be at all your appointments when I can, because I got the same questions you got. Like, what am I supposed to do? But
There's no guide. Like,
yeah.
you go to the doctor and it's all about the gestational person, right? Like the person who's going to be carrying. And it's like, okay, well, we just, like, if you have a male partner, it's like, okay, well, we just need your sperm. Now you can go away, like, kind of thing, right? And so, well, that's like a whole other conversation. Shit the clinic should be doing and things they should be considerate of, right? Yeah. So
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I would say I had the pleasure of meeting a few different people in a couple of groups where I can ask questions where my wife was scared to. Things in regards to, like, we had to end up getting a super shot, and that's when there's too many eggs forming and it becomes dangerous for my. We literally had to drive, you're from Baltimore, so, we had to drive from Baltimore that morning. We went to the appointment. They told us, hey, you got to get the super shot. We ended up driving all the way to Rockville to just get this one shot, or else, she could be at risk of having her ovaries explode. So it was crazy. I mean, we got some stories. But at the end of the day, it was worth it. And I tell anyone out there, you have to be very strategic with this, because a lot of insurances don't cover it. So that we were very strategic in how we went about getting all of the treatments that we did. So, but yes, at the end of the day, we were very successful. I won't dig in too much because we got time for that, but I'll settle that.
No, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad you're here. Really. Yeah.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be here.
Well, Erin and Jasmine, tell us a little bit about your story.
I think what's crazy is that we never went into building a family thinking there would be any problem, right? So when we decided we wanted to have children, we were like, well, obviously we have to go to a fertility clinic, and it's a sure thing. Like, we got an egg retrieval from my wife's embryos, and I was going to carry the embryos and we would get pregnant. We thought it was such a sure thing, especially for the price point, right? It's so expensive. So we were like, this is a sure thing. Like, easy.
And if everything checks out, like, she's fine, your double A's and all the vernacular that you end up learning.
The embryos were chef's kiss perfect.
My eggs were good, you know what I mean?
They did all the tests on my uterus. They were like, oh my God, you guys are the poster child for fertility. Beautiful. You're going to have a baby in 9 months. Prepare. And we were like, okay. So when we went and we paid this money and we thought we were going to be successful, and then a year and a half later, we were not. And the pain that we both went through, I think for us, it was like, we thought going into it, it was a sure thing, and it was not. And we went through so much physical and emotional pain, and we're still going through it, because I'm not going to lie, it's an ongoing process. I think we're still learning so much about what it means to be a family, whether it's just us two or whether we decide to continue treatment. It's been a learning experience for sure, in that we both were diagnosed with infertility, not thinking that that's what we were going into the process. And then having to be told, try again. but it
'Cause we
has a
don't know
price
why.
point.
Like, we don't know why, but keep going, you know?
Keep going. That treatment didn't work, but try this treatment. Also, it's like $8,000, $10,000. It keeps growing, the amount of money that you have to spend to keep trying. So it's like, I don't have infinite amount of resources financially to keep trying this. We've already spent so much.
Or
So
do you have the emotional capability to deal with this again? Like, it's like, oh, we lost this. Now this is the next thing.
right,
It's
like
oh my
you
God.
went through a miscarriage, but let's try again.
Yeah.
Right, a month later. Let's not give you any time to emotionally recover, but let's like do this again. So we had to literally take a step back and say, I'm not okay. I went through a miscarriage in December, and we're in April, and I'm like, I'm not okay. I'm not willing to go through this again.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I feel so bad for couples like us that we have so much hope in this process, and we learn that it's not as black and white as we think it is.
Yeah.
And that's why we advocate, and that's why we are open, and we are trying to share our story, because for anyone that's like us, it's like, we feel you, we know what's going on. And if we don't talk amongst each other, if we don't support one another, we're going to feel so alone.
And to what Mark was saying, like, I didn't talk with anybody about it. You know, I'm glad that she had these groups and everyone to talk to, but like the shots that you end up giving, right? You're like in shock, and that's a little traumatizing to give the shot constantly.
That makes me a raging bitch.
And that's traumatizing as well. Like, no, do we talk about that? We can't talk about that. You know? So, and then, you know, we got to that last stage too, and you know, then having that miscarriage, and we had to do like an emergency shot situation like you did too. And that was a lot. It was a lot of things I never thought we'd be doing through the whole process.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely feel you on that, on a lot of those aspects. For people who have followed my account, this is like my professional account. I don't have a personal account, but I came out this fall like talking about my journey because I felt like that was important, but I never talked about like our piece because it was his story and I didn't want to tell like if he wanted to. And while he technically does have an Instagram account, I don't think he knows how to use it. So
that's true.
so I never like wanted to put him into the story like when I would talk about it. So I thought it was really interesting that he did decide to like come tonight. But we, for 4 years, we were trying naturally. And I had worked for a lot of years to get my body into like a healthy space. And then we finally like went at it, had a miscarriage, and then I still didn't want to do invasive treatment. Since I'm in this field, I see it and I'm like, I don't want any part of it. And then finally getting connected to doctors, the pandemic really like hit a nail on the head for a lot of things. We decided to like try treatment, and it was like an interesting perspective because we talked a lot during this whole process. And for him to actually start seeing why I was so hesitant to do treatments from his perspective was really interesting. And we ultimately went through 2 IUIs, and I had a miscarriage in February. And then we actually have a follow-up appointment tomorrow. But, you know, it's been really interesting just to go down the journey when you don't expect it to ever like be this way. And as someone who is trying to get a sustainable pregnancy, you know, it's often, I feel bad because I know he's feeling bad because the partners want to be able to fix things, right? And so, so that's like my short end of the story thing. But let's talk about like, so what do you do as a partner who's like, because you both have kind of talked about it, like not having a sense of community to go to? Do you tap into your partner's community? Do you try to create your own community of other people to talk to? What's that like for you guys?
I mean, I'll start first. Like, she's got a great community, which, you know, they've built, so I'm sure. And I'm sure I could talk to them. That's not like the focus of what everything is to me, really, is sharing how I'm feeling about it. It's really focusing on everything I'm seeing her go through and how to just be strong for that, right? Just be there for her for that. So it's not like I need to vent or anything. It's just deal with the raging, right? And deal with this and figure out what those next steps are, you know? It's just, is this something we can do? Is this something we can handle? But no, I probably could have reached out more. I just, you know, felt like this was so personal, you know, that it's hard to, and I admire the fact that she does, and I see what strength that gives her. But yeah, I just didn't, I guess I just felt like it was more of a supportive role than anything.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that. I think that when I went into the groups, you start to read kind of what's going on. It's not from the partner's perspective. And so some of the posts make you feel like you don't really want to say anything because a lot of people are also suffering. So it's like now you're bringing additional things. And the issue that I had when I was looking at it is I didn't want to make other people feel a certain type of way of reliving an experience. Because I remember when we had, I think it was the third cycle, and I've never been experienced a miscarriage before. And my wife was actually at work when this happened. And you know, I didn't know how to take that. And so I'm running around looking on the groups like, what am I supposed to do? There's blood everywhere, you know, and I had no clue, never been through anything like that before. And so I'm writing it, and then people giving me all kinds of crazy comments like, why are you putting this on? And I'm like, look, I'm looking for help. Like,
Right.
I mean, you know, like I don't know, you know, what the next phase is. And, you know, at that point, you know, you rush to the hospital. But yeah, like she said, it's when you go in these groups, it becomes a personal journey. But at the same time, you know, you have people that ask specific questions that are more technical questions, I guess you can say, in regards to like, you know, the expectation. But nobody really helps you when it comes to that emotional and mental drain that you get when you're seeing your partner suffering. There's really nothing you can do about it except for be there. And yeah, there's really no, I mean, personally, I haven't seen anything out there, even from men groups. Most of it's all natural. I mean, there's really no groups out there for us.
Right. Then you feel like you feel selfish putting your emotional standpoint onto it, or, you know, as you're seeing something physical happen, it's hard to want to do that.
Yeah.
I get you.
But then, like, even doing the supportive role, like you guys were talking about.
I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, even doing the supportive role, I mean, that's where it gets personal, right? Like, you know, when you're reacting to something, I might, you know, calm you down in a different way than somebody else calms somebody down. So, you know, it's,
right.
I don't know. It's very like situational. So I don't know, like, if there's a guide to that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, but a lot of, you know, I think maybe part of the conversation is like, should there be more support available for partners? And like, not that it has to be all like, let's talk about our feelings, because let's be honest, I mean, even when we're in it, we don't necessarily want to talk about our feelings. Like, we're living it constantly 24/7. You know, sometimes it's nice to talk about the weather for a change, or like, you know, something else. And, you know, is it that there's, so like last year before the pandemic, we were supposed to have a partners event actually, and it was going to be at a local pub, not a pub, a bar, a brewery. What do they call them here? I'm like going all in. And so it was supposed to be like a community bar, a brewery in Baltimore, and it was going to be just like a casual conversation, just like partners, just like, you know, just chatting it up, but like in a neutral territory. I mean, beer. I mean, come on now, right? For those that drink, I want to be mindful and respectful of that. For people who don't, but it was, you know, we were trying to create an environment that was going to be like safe, so that like if you wanted to say something, you could without hesitation or without fear of judgment. And I think that's probably like where a lot of it comes from. And I had talked to a few partners before that event was supposed to happen. And that's what a lot of people were saying, is that they feared the judgment of like the partner. Like they were saying, well, if I talk about it, it's like, are people going to be like, well, you're not the one that's getting the shots. You're not the one on the medications. And like, that's kind of a lot of fear. Yeah. So then I guess maybe my next question would be then, how do you cope as a partner? Like, what do you do to take care of you? Oh, somebody's getting a strong look there.
I guess I'll give them time to. Uh, what do I do? I know I've started like trying to work out more again because I know that physical takes my mind off of things. Um, to cope, it's just been really just like, all right, now what's next? Like just being pragmatic about the situation. Okay, well, keep us on a path of, is this still something we want? Then if it is, then we've got to think of the next step, like still kind of pushing us in that direction, while I'm thinking, oh man, I might not have biological children. Okay, that's okay. Push it. Let's keep going. What are we going to do? Just kind of thinking of these other scenarios. Let's throw things out there for the next path, but then not bring it up too early, right? Because if she's not ready, then she's not ready. And then think about how to balance that. So then I just go work out. And then I, and then I have a drink and I say, hey, we'll figure.
Yeah, I feel bad because as someone who has to go through the treatments and the physical changes of shots and the miscarriage, I feel like I expect her to be there for me in a way that she doesn't know how to be. And I'm almost selfish in that I'm so raging, right? Because all these hormones are pumping through me and I expect her to have the perfect response. And she's going through something equally as I am, but I feel like I'm going through it more.
Yeah.
And how does she have the answers to soothe me when she has to soothe herself and then soothe me at the same time? And where does she find the support? Because she's not on podcast and Instagram accounts like I am. She's on her own. She's working. She's not on these support groups. Who helps them?
And like he said, I Googled it. There's no handbook.
None.
No handbook.
And meanwhile, I'm a raging bitch.
Oh, come on, Erin. She's not that bad, right?
Oh,
I mean,
I'm bad.
not that
I'm
bad.
bad. No, she's being kind. I'm bad. I mean, we went through it really rough. And I feel so bad for what I put her through. And what it took a toll on our marriage. I mean, it really did. Because where she was silent about her pain, I wanted someone to be vocal. But she was just trying to be there for me. And I felt like she was almost like unaffected. So I always was like, this doesn't affect you. How can it not affect you? Do you see not like the pain I'm in? And she's like, I have to keep going. I have to work. I have to provide. I don't know how to else be there for you other than being present and being by your side, soothing you. And it was never enough for me. The pain I was experiencing, no one can soothe, not even my partner.
right.
So how can I expect my partner to be there for me in the way that I dream about it in my own head? And how can I put that expectation on her? And then it makes our marriage suffer because I'm crying or I'm not eating or I'm fat and I look at myself in the mirror after all these shots and I've gained 30 pounds and I'm thinking she doesn't think I'm pretty anymore. And she's like, I think you're pretty. Why are you putting that on me? But I'm putting it on her. It's not fair, but I'm doing it. I'm like, fuck you. You know?
Yeah.
It's not fair to them because they don't even understand what the hell we're going through.
Yeah.
And how can they? But
They try.
They're trying.
Yeah.
But we're not even willing to give them the credit because they don't feel it the way we feel it.
Yeah.
But they do in their own way.
Yeah.
But because they don't feel it the way we feel it, we think you get a cop-out. And it's so unfortunate what infertility does to couples. And I'm sad for everyone in this process because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I know there was some tough times in my marriage where it was, I won't say I'm really emotional. I'm more really, I won't say cold-hearted because I'm very analytical. I'm a straight thinker. I'm goal-oriented, right? So it's like I know what the goal is, right? So then I strategically figure out, okay, well, if this isn't working, look, I ain't a doctor, but the same books they read, I can go get that book and we can find out, the next process together and move forward with that. But it does get to the point where, like she said, your partner is literally feeling like you're not there for them. You know, they're the ones that are going through these shots. They're the ones that's getting up at 5 o'clock and making these appointments every single morning to go in there and get their levels checked and additional shots just to make sure it's going through the routine. And you're not the one doing all that, right? You can try to be there, but if you're working and one person's really going through it, it's never going to work, you know. It's a very tough scenario. Me personally, it got to the point where, you know, I won't say that I wasn't there, but I told her, I said, look, we're going to have to show you how to do these shots on your own because I need that time from you, because I will resent the process because you're making me feel as though I don't want to be here, even though I do want to be here. You're like, you're pushing me away. So it got to the point where, you know, I just want to play basketball. You know, right. I've always played basketball in my life, but it got to the point where it's like, you know, I'm setting league days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like this way, at this time, I know I'm not here. I just need to be by myself so I can have a clear path, because the key thing is this is a very goal-oriented process, and there's ways to get to the end, and you cannot be emotional about it on both sides of the spectrum, right? Your partner is going to be there. They're going to support you, but you have to understand, you know, and you know, that's what I said to my wife. You have to understand that I don't think the way that you think, right? I have the same goal as you, but my job is to ensure no matter what, you get to the end field, right? Regardless of how we feel about it. It's just it's tough because it's a different perspective, but them hormones, boy, they be raging. There's the times I've seen stuff fly across the room.
Tell it.
So it can definitely take a toll. I would tell anybody that's going through this process, you know, set goals. You know, set goals and look forward to the journey, but don't kill your partner trying to succeed. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a true partnership. Having a child is a partnership all the way through and through, whether it's through IVF or naturally. You know, and so it's going to take time. Unfortunately, technology is not as fast. It's not as good as we thought it would be.
Right.
But you know, hopefully they improve it, because you know, like they alluded to earlier, it's not cheap. You know, you can run up $100,000 really quickly, and it gets to the point where it's like, is it worth it? I could have bought a child. You know, we went through all this. I could have went and picked one out the book. And I think I said that to her. I said, look, this is the last one. If this don't work, either we getting a surrogate or we picking the child out the book. I'm sorry to say it. It's real insensitive, but the goal is the goal is the same. The goal is the same. So, but yeah.
No, I feel that.
Yeah. And these are the conversations that aren't happening, right? And like, we're not hearing these, like, you know, we have people who are experiencing it, you know, us are the ones that are like the face on social media and like in the blogs and like everything like that. And I think this is a really important conversation to have, because us experiencing the shots and the medications and stuff, it's like, what are they thinking? Why are they not doing this? And like, why can't they be doing this? Or like, I need them to do this. And there's this disconnect of verbal communication, whether it's through texting or, you know, actual voice. Like, sometimes I think also might not necessarily give our partners enough credit, that if we tell them what our current needs are in that moment, we don't know, or we doubt that their capabilities are actually better than what we give them credit for. And I think for a lot of couples, like, that's part of the challenge. And the partners, especially if you are trying to be strategic in how you're planning, you still want to know what each other is thinking, so that you can make sure that you're on the same page for it, right? And like, no matter what that is, whether it's like, okay, you're going to go do self-care and I'm going to go give myself shots, or you're going to go take a shower and I'm going to go for a walk, kind of thing. And like, and having that time that is like solely your processing time away from each other, but then yet giving you also the fuel to like be able to maybe have that moment together and talk about it. I know we did. I mean, there was a point a couple years ago where I was like, that's it. Like, we have to be having conversations more. Like, I feel like you don't have anything invested in this, and then it's all me. And then once we had like that conversation, and we referenced that conversation often, it's like, yeah, okay, let's just say whatever it is we're thinking. And then we're able to kind of better understand each other's feelings, but also like the point of view in which we're trying to approach whatever decision has to be made, or timing, or like, do we, like, you know, in the middle of a pandemic and you're going through fertility treatment, like, what do you do? And your partner can't go with you. And that's nerve wracking, right? And so I know that for him, like, he wanted to be there so bad. And I'd be like, well, I'm just going to drive myself. He's like, no, I'm going to drive you, and I'm going to sit in the parking lot, and then I want to be there when you come out. We're doing this together, even if we're not physically doing this together. It's like, okay. And I know that is something I didn't think he was going to want to take time off of work and like be able to drive down to the clinic and all of that. And so I didn't give him enough credit for what he was willing to do. And I mean, I know that when we've had that conversation, it was always like, well, I want to make sure that I understand what your needs are. And sometimes they were like, I don't know what the hell I want. Like when I was having a miscarriage, I was like, I don't know what I need, but I'll tell you if I need something. And, you know, whether it was ice cream or like, I don't know what it was. It was ice cream, Ben and Jerry's, let me tell you. But you know, it was like whatever I needed. If I knew something tangible, I would just say it. And then he was like, okay, see, I can do something. You just got to tell me what you need. Nice. And then like the same thing for like the shots. I was like petrified of like doing the shots. And then he came up with like a whole strategy so that it was like easier for me. Had a playlist, and we danced in the bathroom while I was like doing it. Like he came up with that. I was like, oh, thank God. Like I don't have to think about this now. And it was just really nice to be able to see, like, he was like, okay, I can do this. And that was something that he felt, you know, confident that he could do. And I just think the partners are more incredible than we really acknowledge in a lot of ways. And so both Erin and Mark and John, you guys definitely are you're just as in it, invested in all of that, whether or not you realize it. So
John, how did you cope?
I mean, I'm shocked how similar like all of our like stories are, like in the supporting thing, because it was the same sort of thing. I mean, the pandemic was tough because like we're both home, we're both here. You know, I've been working from home, so it's like can't even like get away to go to work sometimes and just like have a mental break and then come back. So, but no, I've been doing like. I started just, we got a trail behind us. I go on walks like every day and try to make time, even if it's just like 20 minutes, just to like have a breather, you know. I don't know. I stayed busy too.
He does.
I got a lot of hobbies.
He has a lot of hobbies, and we're both also very avid in like building things around the house and like getting our hands dirty. We have no problem doing that. So if there was something he could build, then he would go work on that or something like that. Or yoga. Yeah.
Yeah. So staying busy, but yeah, just being there when you need it. But yeah, we did have a lot of those conversations where it's like, look, I'll do, and you know, it was a lot of like trust. Like, you gotta trust me. I will do what you ask me to do, but you gotta tell me what you want me to do. Yeah. Like,
we're not mind readers.
All I would hear is, I shouldn't have to tell you.
That is a great saying.
I'm like, look, I will do anything. You just gotta let me know. I can't always read your mind. So
yeah. So, sometimes he can, and he's really good at it. But
and I was like, you know, if you want me to leave you alone, I'm not gonna get offended. You just gotta tell me, like, look, just leave me alone right now. You know, so because there was some of that too.
Yeah,
there was. I was like, leave me alone, but when I'm telling you leave me alone, I really need you to be there. And like, I'm just pushing you away because I'm messed up. My body didn't do what it should have, and I feel like shit about that. And I'm telling you, leave me alone, but really what I want is for you to comfort me. I still get it wrong. There's so many times where I'm pushing her away, and all I want is for her to be there for me and to prove to me that, like, there's nothing that I can say to make her not be there for me, but I'm going to push you away because I'm so ashamed of my body for not doing what I thought it could.
Yeah.
And I'm almost like asking you to tell me that I'm okay, even if I can't get pregnant. Because it's almost like shameful to us. Like, damn, I didn't do what my body could do, right? What everybody expected it to. And then I want you to comfort me. But you're going through it too. But I still expect you to be the bigger person and know what I need. I can't communicate what I need every time. I'm messed up as hell. So how could you know? And how could I tell you what I need? I can't tell you what I need.
Yeah.
And so I'm pushing you away.
Yeah.
I'm pushing myself away.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the biggest thing with us is the learning curve of like, don't trust what I'm saying.
Figure that out.
Figure it out.
Figure that one out, right? The magic trick.
Erin, how long have you guys been together?
So together probably 5 years.
How long have you guys been married?
We're going on
3.
Okay. Okay. And Mark, how long have you been with your wife?
I've been with for, this will be 11 years, been married for 8.
Okay. All right. Well, 16 together for us and married for, it'll be 9 this year.
Awesome.
Love it.
Yeah. So,
So you're saying I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you will. You will.
Okay.
You will. I think. I don't know. Will she figure it out?
It's an evolution every year.
No? Okay. I just gotta be
you get it. But I really do think, well, I just think that, like, it is hard. And Jasmine, you totally, like, hit the nail on the head with it. Like, it's like, sometimes we say the things, but we don't necessarily, I think it's also we don't necessarily always know what we need and what we want. But we just want somebody to snap their fingers and it's all going to be over for both of us, right? Like, it's going to be okay. Either the next round is going to be like amazing or, you know, or it's not, but we just need to know that, like, it's going to be okay. Like we got this and everything's going to work. Everything's going to work. We're going to claim it. Okay. Everything is going to work. And our partners can't fix that and make that happen.
Yeah, we just spent like, I don't know, $30,000 on this treatment, and I'm a woman and I'm supposed to be able to do this. And also, like, our sex life has suffered because we've been doing this process. So it's like, as a woman, you almost feel responsible for not being able to do your job. And so it's like, you still want your partner to desire you and to think of you as someone who's amazing. But here you are not being able to conceive. And so you feel so alienated in that. And you think your partner is judging you, even though they're not.
Right.
But you feel that. You think that. Your brain is telling you that shit. So it's like you almost feel so alone in that. And you want your partner to tell you, oh, it's okay. You want them to tell you this romantic comedy version of this shit that does not exist because they're also suffering. And you can't even think of them because you're so busy thinking about how you failed.
Yeah.
And so they could say the perfect thing and you're still going to attack them because you're also on hormones.
Yeah.
So how do you fix that?
It's crazy how similar that is. Of, you know, it's so crazy because I think that was one of the staples for my wife where, you know, she did not feel as though she was able to do the main role of what her responsibility in the marriage is to do, and that's to bear a child, as well as being a woman. You know, it's so easy, and I think the biggest issue is that when you go through a community and you see how some people really shouldn't have kids, and you have good, honest people out here trying to have children, and it's just so impossible sometimes to get over that hill and to have children, but you're watching people that just should never, I mean, they should have their kids taken immediately from them, and they're just popping out babies year after year, and it's like, but you're not even taking care of the ones you have. And people who really want to have kids can't even enjoy that, you know, and then people complaining about their kids saying, oh, you know, I wish I never had kids, and, you know, I can't stand this father and blah, blah, blah. It's like, look, it's not about the parent at this point. This child is yours. You need to treat him or her and love him for what they are. And you're not a lot of people just wasting opportunity kids are gifts, right? It is a long-lasting evolution of you forever. That's your staple to leave upon the world, to say that you might not have known who I was, but my child is here, and they're going to put their stamp on the world, etc. And then the next person, and the next person. But it's sad when you're unable to feel that sense of fulfillment, and a lot of people don't really specialize in the mental department of that. So when you're going through it, and it's like you don't know if it's going to be successful or not, when you go ahead and you try to find someone, they have therapists for everything else, but there's no real mental health doctors out here to walk you through staying strong, exercises to keep your mental health up, because there's no one that specializes in this. This is one of the problems that is really a pandemic, because this is happening way more than people want to talk about, and they're really not addressing it. Everyone wants to sweep the mental health portion under the rug, but it's literally one of the most critical parts of this process. If your mind's not right, your body's not going to be right. So not only you got to keep your health up, keep your weight down, make sure you drink in certain things. I mean, we tried all those little things you've seen on the internet, all the natural stuff, right? So we went through it all. But so you're trying to do all of that. But the hardest part is literally the mentality. And it's hard to be mentally strong when you have so many hormones running through you that you never had before. I mean, we had to put progesterone or something of that nature. I don't even know, but it was like, it got to the point where we needed way more of that than what you really needed. But at the end of the day, I can tell you that was the key to the success that we had. Was we had more progesterone, or whatever it's called, in our last cycle. And before the doctors, and you got doctors out here trying new things, and they're trying new things, but they don't have any studies, and they're just using you as guinea pig. But you use me as a guinea pig, and it's costing me $15,000 a cycle.
Right.
Like, I need concrete practices in order to be successful. I don't have $15,000 every time I come see you.
Right.
Yeah. Eventually, I'm going to go to Somalia. Okay, they're giving them kids away. I'm going to bring one back. Right. And we're going to be happy. Right. But I truly believe that the mental stress and the lack of professionals in this industry to help couples cope through the process, and I really believe that should be part of the process. When you go into these clinics, they should assign a doctor that's just there for you as a therapeutic reasoning. So every week you check in, questions you're going to have. They don't do that, and I think that a lot of women can't get their bodies to perform at the highest peaks because their mind is rejecting it. And it's just it's sad. It's a sad truth. But I think that we as a community that have been through this, we just need to advocate for that help.
Yeah, I definitely think that, like, mental health, while a lot of clinics have somebody that's there, nobody mentions that they have a mental health provider. And I mean, as someone who works in reproductive health, I have a list that I provide to my clients. Like, these are people who specialize in infertility, or they specialize in pregnancy loss. And these are like people that I refer my clients to. But at the clinic, they're not saying, do you need to talk to someone, or how is your partner doing? They're not asking these questions. After the loss, thank goodness I had a list of resources already for myself. No one was checking in if I needed to talk to anybody. And knowing that it was my second one, there was no follow-up to that. And then it's like, when they do call you, they're not calling to check in on that. They're just calling, did you get your medicines in? Or following up on cycle day 1, or whatever your scan results are, right? And then it's like, that's the one piece that you're not addressing. And if I say I'm anxious, are you then going to ask me, well, how is your partner doing with all of this? Nobody asks about any of that.
No.
So anyway,
for
I have a
us
link.
as an LGBTQ couple, it was like, when we were recommended to speak to a therapist, it was only to acknowledge that we were gay and that would affect our child, right? It wasn't that it was like, oh shit, what are you going through? It was like, well, are you willing to tell your child that a sperm donor is necessary? Are you willing to call him the father? And we were like, father? He ejaculated into a cup for money for your clinic. He has nothing to do with this process. But they were asking us And the only time a therapist was involved in our journey was when we had to buy sperm. And were we ready to tell our child about its father? And we were like, father, that's a strong word.
So not everyone has to do that.
And not everyone has to do that. Only gay couples. I mean, god damn.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. I mean, I've heard that from a lot of friends, like, say that. And it's like, okay, it's 2021. Can we can we realize that that practice was wrong and that we need to be doing better?
But
Like,
it would have been good, like, I think you guys are saying to, like, continue, not that one, but maybe continue that process throughout. It should almost be included, right? There should be this, like, combo bundle package that includes everything, right? It's the whole person, because like he's saying, the whole person is probably why some of this doesn't work. You add all of the stress that you're going through and the mental toll that it takes. How are you supposed to perform miracles at that point? You know?
Yeah. And then especially like being able to think clearly, that if you're dealing with all these things, you're not able to ask the right questions or be able to express how you're actually doing because you're hesitant to say anything because you don't know what's going to be. Yeah. Yeah. I think that continuity of care is something that needs to be raised to the front of the line, in ensuring that every person, both partners and both mental and physical, is definitely checked in on for sure.
But our clinic only made sure that we were connected to the billing department. That's it. It was like, okay, you got connected to your doctor, but the only other liaison is the billing department.
But did you get to see your doctor? Did you get to see your doctor regularly? Because I tell you, John Hopkins, you never see your doctor.
I saw PAs. I saw everyone but my doctor during my entire process. Maybe I saw my doctor twice. But the billing department, oh, they were on point.
I got to hear from them every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. They did not miss a damn time.
You definitely don't feel cared about during this. And I thought this was like such an emotional thing and a private thing that this was going to be, you felt cared about the whole time. And it really just felt like a conveyor wheel of people, you know? And that was disappointing for sure.
If this was a TripAdvisor review, it'd be 2 thumbs down.
Right.
Yeah, 0 stars.
And it's crazy because, like, we went through our miscarriage in December. Until this day, our doctor has not checked in on us.
Yeah.
On Thanksgiving Day, we had to take 2 shots of methotrexate to, like, basically diminish our pregnancy because our kids...
The health risk,
Right. Like, my embryos were growing in my fallopian tube, so I was having an ectopic pregnancy. And not one time from December till now in April has my doctor checked in. Not one time. But the billing department has been like, hey, you owe $6,000.
Yeah.
No one else has checked in but the billing department.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it capitalist that you're like taking advantage of my medical need? And then how do we support each other?
Yeah. And that's where it becomes challenging, right? Because you're wishing that you had continuity of care from, you know, the loss, and then just even between cycles, you want to know that like they're checking in and making sure your hormones are balancing out, leveling out, and all of that stuff. Yeah, no. Maybe you get an email with your lab results, and that's about it. Yeah.
Like, our doctor has not checked in one time.
I think our next live should be us talking about how you guys threw things and telling stories about that.
Well, we said it was going to be casual conversation, and it was. But I think it does. But I do think that like what you know we're talking about with the clinic is that, you know, there's the lack of care of inclusion, partner inclusion in care. And I think that is definitely something that I hear from my friends who have gone through it. And, you know, their partners had losses or they were going through treatment, and they're like, I didn't know that I was equally a part of it, aside from, you know, just writing the check, you know, putting out the credit card, or helping out with whatever the medications were. And I think that we have to do better for partner support for those that have partners, because we know that single parents by choice is definitely a growing demographic. But for those that have partners, like, we need to do better with including you in on the actual conversation, and that the doctor needs to talk to both partners, not just the person, even though it is our bodies, that you still need to be part of that equal conversation, I think.
Thank you guys for being vulnerable enough to speak out on it, because I think we feel so alone sometimes. Partners, people carrying, it's so isolating for you and for us. And thank you for having this conversation, because we will pave the path.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out for, Erin coming on. Like, I've never seen her on with you, for any of your. Yeah, well, congratulations.
This is the first time.
Well, I'm grateful that you were able to come on and speak your truth and to share your perspective of what it's like for a partner. And, especially as like a same-sex couple, like, people don't hear about that part of the relationship. And I think that that's really, really important. And I'm grateful for all of you, really, and you, well, whatever, but yeah. And I'm so bummed that Caitlin and Susie weren't able to get on. They were trying so hard. So if you are still watching, I still love you, and we'll find a way to get you on for something. But I want to be mindful of everybody's time, and clearly, I mean, we're keeping it just at the time. But man, this is a hot topic, and I think that, hopefully people who are watching this, and maybe Jasmine with, your podcast or something, this will open up another wave of dialogue to have partner inclusion in that conversation. It's definitely the forgotten side of the story, and I think that we need to be providing more safe platforms for that conversation to be had. So,
absolutely.
No, it was a lot of what everyone said resonated with me, so I appreciated it. Thank you.
Yeah, it was definitely a great conversation.
Oh, well, I'm so grateful. I'm like fangirling over here for like everybody who's on. Mark, you look as handsome as ever. Thank you so much. And Erin and Jasmine, thank you so much. And thank you, John, too.
Thanks,
You
John.
Thanks, John. Mark.
That's sunset.
That's
all right.
Bye, guys.
And just to let everybody know, I should let everybody know real quick. So this recording will be posted to my YouTube channel for closed captioning accessibility. And tomorrow night's event is going to be PTSD and trying to conceive with a mental health provider from Maryland, PG County. Tiffany Mills had her on in October for a pregnancy loss and mental health event. And Thursday, I'm so excited. Please, everybody, just go sign up for this event. A dear friend of mine, we've been friends for 20-some years. And she's a Baltimore-based playwright, director, producer, and she's also been on the fertility journey for a number of years, multiple treatments, multiple losses, and she has written numerous plays over the years, short plays about fertility and miscarriage, and she is doing a storytelling through her plays. She's got local actors who are going to be kind of doing like a screen reading, I guess that's what they call it. And then we're going to have a post discussion afterwards. And so Aladrian Wetzel is like absolutely amazing. And I've seen one of her plays in Fertile Ground a couple years ago. And it was just so impeccable. Truth down to like the fine details of what it's like. So that one is on Zoom. Link, all the events for the rest of the week are listed in my link in the bio. And then Friday, we're wrapping up the last event, which is talking about how do you make the decision to be childless, not by choice. And so I'm so excited for that event with Dundre on Friday. It'll be 7:30 Eastern time for Friday, but tomorrow it is 6:30, Thursday is 7 o'clock, and Friday is 7:30. So, so please just check out the rest of the events in my link, and you're all amazing. Have a beautiful evening. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.